What's up, y'all? You want to know the secrets? Here are the secrets. If you go to patreon.com/wehaveconcerns, you can get early episodes, you can get bonus episodes, you can get super long episodes with special guests like Justin Robert Young and Hal Lublin, and many more to come. Patreon.com/wehaveconcerns. Secrets. Because of giant space dogs and wizards and laser swords.
All that stuff I buy.
Like, that's fine.
But photon torpedoes making a left turn?
It's not a photon
Come
torpedo.
on.
You can't say photon torpedo.
What is it, though?
This is We Have Concerns. Hi, Jeff Canada.
Hi, Anthony Carboni.
Hello, concerned citizen.
Hey, Anthony, remember the 90s?
Vaguely.
Uh-huh. You remember?
Yeah. Wait, the 90s was,
It was awesome. Oh, that's pretty good.
That was the 90s, right?
You know that I actually stayed once in the house of the man, one of the man who was on the team that determined that sound, that series of noises.
Really?
The 56K baud modem.
Why those noises?
They were very specific. They were
why?
communication.
What did he tell you?
They were very specific communication protocol that they had to do those exact noises.
Yeah,
to
of course they
establish a
did. But
connection.
why those noises?
It was secrets.
I mean, that's the thing, is we all know. You just told me a thing that we all already know.
No,
You're like, did you know that those sounds were communication protocol handshakes
No, the
for
thing I
modems?
was telling you is that I stayed in the man's house. I lived in the man's house for a few nights.
And you didn't get that information out of him?
I mean, I tried, but I didn't have the right communication protocol.
I
We're getting off topic. 90s.
I was staying at Stephen Hawking's house. What'd you talk about? I don't know, mostly like gardening. Why? Why?
The man loves, I love gardening.
How do you love gardening?
I like to watch flowers grow.
All right.
I'm a fan.
So anyway,
do it.
this is a show about modem communication
No,
protocols.
the 90s. Do you remember that movie in the 90s where Sinbad was a genie? Remember that? Remember that movie?
I mean,
Sinbad was a genie and he helped those kids.
If you tell me that there is a movie where Sinbad is a genie, I believe it, because in the 90s, Sinbad dressed exclusively like a genie.
Yeah, but in this movie, he was like legit a genie. He was like helping kids with wishes. Remember that?
Oh, are you racist? Do you think that Sinbad and Shaquille O'Neal look exactly the same?
No.
Are you a racist man?
That's not at all what I'm saying.
Jeff, were you secretly racist this whole time?
I'm saying that there's a heck of a lot of people
Yeah.
that either have that problem that you're describing or there's something fishy going on. There's a story sent to us.
So, this is Kazam.
Shazam, I think you mean to say.
No, Kazam.
Shazam.
Go on.
There's a story sent to us by Jonathan Lawson. He sent it to wehaveconcernshow@gmail.com. Thank you very much for that. You can also send stories to our subreddit. And by send, I mean post. And by post, I mean visit. And by visit, I mean post. Subreddit is wehaveconcerns.reddit.com.
That all tracks. Hey, speaking of which, I know a lot of people like a Reddit or lurk on a Reddit but don't necessarily post on a Reddit. Let us know if you guys would also like some sort of a Facebook group. I know a lot of people like a Facebook group. I personally am not a Facebook guy, but if you guys would like one, let us know. Anyway, go on.
So this is actually a story about Reddit in a lot of ways. There is a large Reddit community, hundreds of people that all remember there being a movie in the early 90s starring stand-up comedian Sinbad.
No.
And he played a genie.
No.
And he saved some kids.
No, he didn't.
And they had wishes and he tried to grant them.
No.
And they all remember it.
No.
And it didn't happen. The point is, there's no record of this movie.
Record because it doesn't exist. Here's what's going on.
Wait, does it not exist, Anthony?
Yes.
Or are we in an alternate timeline where some people remember it and maybe
So this is the Mandela effect is what you're talking about. You're talking about the Mandela effect. The idea is this theory first came into existence when people, a large number of people said they vividly recollect Nelson Mandela dying in the 80s.
They
remember it. They remember.
Except that he's alive.
They remember watching the news. They remember talking about it. They remember a nation mourning. They remember all this stuff, except it didn't happen. So the idea is the Mandela effect is universes are constantly branching off into different paths, and sometimes they collapse onto one another, and sometimes these differences are small, but some people come over from these alternate timelines. Here's what's actually happening, Jeff. There is a movie with Shaquille O'Neal called Kazam.
Mm-hmm.
He is a genie that helps children. There is a TV show with Sinbad who dresses like a genie, where he plays a 3D computer animator named Sinbad, who takes care of 2 children. Whoops! I vaguely remember 2 things and I put them together. That's what's going on.
You're saying it, you conflate these ideas in your head, and hundreds of people make the same conflation.
Yes.
And they convince themselves they're actual memories.
When you have a vague memory and somebody completes that memory for you,
right,
you are likely to accept that completion as fact.
Or alternate timelines are compiling into one, and people have memories, and there's a glitch in the matrix, and science fiction is happening.
The other big one that came out this year that people believed was Berenstein Bears.
Yeah, the misspelling.
Berenstein versus Berenstain.
Yeah, everybody remembers the A and the Berenstein Bears, or the E, excuse me, and it actually is an A.
Here's the thing. If you told me it was E, I'd go, yeah, sure.
Right.
Because guess what? This is not an important memory for us. Nobody falsely remembers the names of like other things from pop culture that hit more, right? Here's what's going on. The Berenstein Bears were mildly important to some of us when we were super young.
I got some Scholastic readers, and I ordered some Berenstein Bears.
And they were there, and they were all around. They're kind of like Family Circus, though, in that they were always around, but we don't really care.
Yeah.
Like, I can name some of the kids from the Family Circus. There's a
You
Billy and a Judy.
Oh, there's a Billy.
And
there's definitely a Billy.
Timmy and a Tommy.
No, now you're making
and
shit
a
up.
Willie and a
Wally.
Barry and a...
No,
but
now you're just naming reindeer.
Yeah, there's a Rudolph, there's a Sleepy, there's a Grumpy. So, like, when we have vague memories of those things, if you told me the 2 kids from Family Circus were Billy and Judy, I'd be like, oh, yeah, I remember that, Billy and Judy.
Yeah.
You tell me Berenstein was spelled with an E, I go, yeah. You can't tell me that one of the Ninja Turtles was named, like, Carpaccio. Like, I know that's not true.
Carpaccio. You know, he always he fought with a series of plates.
Yeah, Carpaccio, not Caravaggio either.
No,
that's not what I meant.
No.
I meant literally a cold meat dish.
He fought with
I did
plates.
not misremember the name of that artist.
Yeah.
I come from an alternate timeline where the name of the artist and the cold meat dish have been swapped. See,
Yes.
I come from an alternate timeline where Carpaccio is the artist.
Right.
And so now I believe you about Shazam because I'm trying to save face.
Carpaccio was a great Ninja Turtle. He had the brown headbands, and he had the 2 sticks that he spun plates on.
Yep.
And when they got into a fight, he would spin plates and then throw them at the enemy. The enemy, Schroeder.
He just wanted to be left alone to play his piano, and these turtles were just after him. We all remember this,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
We all remember. And
So
if you
clear.
don't, you're from an alternate timeline. Clearly, it can't be that 300 people on a subreddit, when compared to the billions of people on Earth, they can't be misremembered.
Well,
no. Surely they're from another world.
Well, let me not give short shrift to these people, because you are kind of characterizing them as having vague memories, that they sort of the specificity of what these people remember with regard to the Sinbad Shazam movie is very intriguing.
No.
There's a fella who worked at Blockbuster and says he has concrete memory of ordering copies of Shazam and then later ordering copies of Kazam, the Shaq movie. And he has posted a $1,000 bounty for anyone that can prove there was actually a Shazam movie starring Sinbad, because he's so certain of his memory.
He's never going to have to pay that. He never has to have $1,000 in his life.
He worked at Blockbuster, so he doesn't have $1,000.
Okay. Number one, what you just said folds into my point that I was going to make very nicely, which is he worked at a Blockbuster. So this was 20 years ago.
Well, it was in the 90s.
It was, dude, no. His memories from that Blockbuster are not that vivid, especially memories of handling a specific tape.
Well, he had to order them. He was the guy in charge of ordering the tapes. So you figure he had to write down Shazam on the order form, starring Sinbad. He had to write up the description. We got the new Sinbad flick in. Everybody's all excited. There's a midnight release party.
Yeah.
Everybody's lined up outside for the new
Like
Sinbad drop.
Like people calling all day, like, can we reserve copies of this Sinbad movie? Like, no, you can't. I'm so sorry.
He's like, if you wait a few months, we'll get the Shaq knockoff called Kazam that everybody will remember and won't be wiped clean in the great culling of the timeline.
Yeah.
But for now, you're just gonna have to be patient on the Sinbad movie.
look, if I had not seen Top Gun or Navy SEALs in like 30 years, and you told me, hey, remember the scene in Top Gun where they're playing golf cart polo? I'd say, like, yeah, of course they are.
Right.
If you told me, like, hey, you remember that scene in The Goonies where they find an amulet on the cover of a magical book, I'd be like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, these are all details.
Well, so
these
you're
are
describing something that people
We're
call
conflating two things.
You're describing something people call the contagion of memory, where
Yes.
memory is actually contagious. So if you think something and I hear you say that, then I kind of go, oh yeah, I guess I also remember that.
Yes.
But the people in this subreddit who have never met one another, and this one person describes, Anthony, calm it down. This person who describes staying away from a description of the movie, writing down what they remember as the plot from having seen the movie, comparing it to what somebody else wrote, and it is exact same plot.
Because they're coming from the exact same set of inputs.
Hmm.
They are coming from a Sinbad TV show in which Sinbad did watch after two kids.
In your defense, he often wore pants that were
And
very
he did look like
genie-like.
a genie.
He did.
He was a genie-ass looking motherfucker in the
Yeah,
90s.
He had this sort of genie aesthetic.
And a Shaq movie.
Yeah.
They came out around the same time. This is the same set of unique inputs. If you said, go to this subreddit where people are remembering this Sinbad genie movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course. These are the most, when I look at the plot points here, the most generic plot points. They have to help their, like, kid, they have to help these kids' dads find a new mom. They
Right.
have to, like, the doll broke and they had to repair the doll. She wished to repair the doll. Like, these are all generic, like, Disney movie, children's movie stuff. Like,
So you're saying these people are not only bad rememberers, they're bad writers.
I'm saying.
They're, like, inventing a story that's really
I'm not
played
saying they're
out.
bad. I'm saying there's a job for them on staff at Disney XD. I'm saying
You're saying this whole Reddit is just pitching a movie.
literally any one of these people could have created Even Stevens. Any one of these people could have created the Wizards of Waverly Place.
Yeah, you're
These
right.
people could have done it all.
Yeah, you're right.
The Sweet Life? One of these people wrote The Sweet Life with Zach and Cody and Judy and Billy.
Oh, I think all
You
of them.
remember
were-
those?
I remember very vividly
remember all
Judy
four
and
of them,
Billy.
right?
Yeah.
No, I love this because what's interesting to me is the people in this subreddit are very clearly, like, they are explaining why they can all do this, but they're rationalizing it, because what's happening is if you come in, you go, yes, I remember this movie. I remember this part, and this part. And then I come to the subreddit and I go, I kind of remember this movie. Click. This part, and this part. Yeah, that
It's
sounds
even more
right.
nefarious than that. The scientist in the article talks about saying if you say to someone, the karate champion hit the cinder block, they will often remember that the karate champion smashed the cinder block in two,
Mhm.
even though you didn't tell him that happened. Maybe he broke his hand on the cinder block and walked
Yeah.
away crying. But what they remember, because they
We're
fill
filling
in the details.
vivid details. We
Yeah.
want our memories to be complete. We want to construct an entire narrative in our heads. We don't like missing information.
Human beings are so fucked because all we've got is our memory of shit.
Mhm.
And if we can group mind into existence out of whole cloth stuff that didn't exist, it's like we could invent our own facts. We can
Insert politics joke here.
we could elect a despot.
2016
Anything
politics.
could happen, Anthony.
Here comes Jeff.
We're liable to do anything at this point
Political
because
Jeff, everyone.
up is down, left is right,
Dogs
false
and
is
cats
true.
lying together. Mass hysteria. I kind of like this about human memory.
Really?
I do.
How about all those people that have gone to jail or the death chamber or you know,
Yes, the death chamber.
the death chamber? That's how we kill people.
When
in
the
this country, right?
tribunal sent all these people to the death chamber.
I'm
Jeff.
thinking about.
And we all remember
Don't
the
you
death
remember
chamber.
that?
We remember it being in 6th grade civics class and learning about the death chamber.
Do you remember
that we
those
will be
three?
sent
Those
to.
three those two guys and that girl that got sent to the death chamber and then were imprisoned in that plane of glass and sent off into space.
Yeah.
Remember that when we did that in U.S. history?
Yes.
Yeah, and they never came back to cause any problems again.
Right.
Yeah, they might have been. It was just they were just convicted based on people's memories.
Yeah.
That's all we've got, Anthony, to convict people is, hey, do you remember him doing that? Sure do. That's all we've got.
So
That and evidence, but fuck evidence.
fuck
That's all we've
evidence,
got.
dude. Fuck due process. I remember this shit.
Yes.
He was a genie. He was a genie.
We
I
are-
remember. Send him to the death chamber.
This is a crisis on infinite Earths.
It really is. No, but what I like about this in terms of memory, like obviously there are places where this is bad, right?
Everywhere.
It's bad in news, it's bad in politics. In personal life, it's kind of nice. I take these little fragments and I put them together into a nice story of my life.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There is no nice story of your life, Jeff. You're probably like when
What?
you think about like
There isn't?
here's what happened to me in kindergarten.
Oh.
Everything you're remembering could probably be from 3 days. And you squish it
That's
into like
true.
one little bit, and maybe some of it's from first grade,
Yeah.
and like you bring in a friend, and then like sometimes you bring in a little bit from TV.
Yeah.
There have been
Oh,
times
yeah.
where I remember things,
You had that
and
when
my
you had
mom
that-
is like, that was a fucking episode of Growing Pains
You
or
remem-
something.
You remember when you had that fully autonomous android girl that followed you around all the time?
That was different than my robot butler, Kevin.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because I
Both were true.
hung out with that weird alien that loved to eat cats.
Yeah.
He was a riot, that guy. It was a great year. That was second grade.
Real talk, some of my memories of my father saying things to me are literally Alan Alda quotes from MASH.
Ouch.
And I didn't realize this until later on in my life.
Well, you should
Because
have.
my dad and Alan Alda have kind of like a similar voice, and they're both kind of like deadpan sarcastic.
It's awesome.
And not even Alan Alda. Obviously, I'm talking about Hawkeye.
Right.
Like, I'm talking about like Hawkeye and my dad were both kind of like deadpan
Is it
and
weird
snarky.
that your dad had so many quotes about like medicine
And
for
Vietnam
and the Korean,
and Korea.
the Korean War?
The Korean War. Like so many quotes about the Korean War. And I'm like, Dad, you didn't even serve. And then like a baby was a chicken and
Yeah.
he cried a lot. I don't know. Our next door neighbor was like always dressing in dresses,
Oh,
but like because he wanted to get fired. There was a pilot that was always sleeping with twins, and
Man.
maybe I was a psychiatrist, or was that?
you know more about MASH than I do.
No, I leapt into the Newhart show there for a second.
Oh, okay.
I
I think this is a very bad thing, but I think you're right. I oftentimes wonder how many of those, when I say, oh my God, I spent so much time when I was a kid, riding my bike on the block. What if that was just a week when I was really into my bike? But in my memory, it feels like, oh, so much time.
Yeah. You remember 87,000 times riding on your bike. You probably remember 60% of your childhood like riding on your bike and building forts and shit.
Yeah,
That's not the way it went, dude.
right. We did that one time,
Yeah.
and it just was really memorable.
That's your childhood now. Stamp of approval.
It's fucked up.
Listen, we would rather forgive Shaquille O'Neal for Kazam and pass it off to Sinbad.
Yeah.
You know what I
Sinbad
mean?
will take it.
We want
He can handle it.
we want Shaquille O'Neal to be without sin.
Right. Yeah.
We want
Do you
him.
remember when Sinbad did that movie where he was a superhero all
But it was
in
like
metal?
Superman related, but
Yeah.
they didn't say it. Like
Not
they never
really.
said it.
He was all metal and he
Yeah.
had a big hammer and he
Mhm.
was Sinbad and he was so much Sinbad the whole time.
Do you remember when Sinbad lost in basketball to Aaron Carter and they made a song about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
And
you
I was
remember
like,
when-
why is that a big deal? Sinbad
remember-
doesn't even play basketball.
Do you remember when Sinbad and Kobe Bryant won 3 NBA championships?
Do you remember the 16-bit Sinbad video game where it was a fighting game and the sprites were so small, like so small, and they jumped so high.
Yeah.
And it was like really, it was hard to play.
Do you remember when Sinbad hosts NBA Live with Charles Barkley every Sunday?
Do you
now?
remember?
Remember now
I
when he
remember
does
now when Sinbad does that. I also remember Sinbad and Fushnikins releasing a hip hop single.
Yeah.
I remember that. That was good.
That was really good. Sinbad was prolific.
Sinbad did a lot,
The
especially for the Orlando Magic.
other thing I always do is I remember I remember my childhood, but I remember it from a third person perspective as looking at the photo of that moment.
Mhm.
And I go, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I remember when I did that. And it's like, I'm looking at the photo of me doing it.
Any memory where you can see yourself in the memory,
It's
you have
fake.
created.
It's not real.
Any memory, and like the next time it happens and you see that in your head, I want you to like catch everybody who's listening. I want you to think about it and catch it because that's a false memory.
And then replace yourself with Sinbad.
Yeah, Sinbad.
In that memory.
When there was only one set of footsteps in the sand, that was when Sinbad was carrying you.
Yes. And he's carried us all at one time or another.
Yeah, he carried the Fox network for a long time before Martin Lawrence.
That's right.
For a long time. Or maybe Sinbad was after Martin Lawrence.
I think they're the same person.
No. No. Here we go.
It makes me sad that
Do you remember that Sinbad movie, Bad Boys? Where Sinbad and Shaq were
Yes.
two cops?
Yeah. Remember when Sinbad was a grandmother and dressed in drag in that one movie? Those are good. That was a good Sinbad movie.
Do you remember all those Sinbad movies about Medea?
Remember when Sinbad was an...
Listen, I'm not calling an entire subreddit racist. I'm not doing that. I would never do that. I would never do that. And if you remember me doing that, you're misremembering. Because I never outright stated that subreddit is racist.
This makes me sad that there's no actual evidence of time travel or multiple timelines. I want that to be the reason. I don't want stupid, fallible human memory to be the reason.
Nah, here's the thing about that. That means multiple timelines are nowhere near as exciting as we want them to be. And I would rather multiple timelines not be as permeable.
They're just sneaky.
Multiple
Multiple timelines are sneaky. They're not going to be obvious. Like,
let's do a
having
sci-fi
Biff
show.
Tannen as our president. That would be obvious.
Let's do a sci-fi show that's like that old sci-fi show Sliders, but instead of everything being different, it's like just 99.99999% the same. It's like a boring version of the butterfly effect. Let's just do that sci-fi show. Where it's like, Professor!
Yes? What is it, Billy?
What timeline are we in now?
Well, we're in timeline A47B.
Oh boy, we better be careful. We don't want to look out of place. Oh, hey, Professor. Hey, Timmy. You guys jumping between timelines again?
Don't worry, Billy. He's calling you Timmy, but that's literally the only change between this timeline and 47A. So just go by Timmy, and literally everything else will be exactly the same.
But my name is Billy.
I know, but everyone was going to call you Timmy.
Professor, this isn't our timeline. We have to get home.
Hey, Timmy, you got to go home. Timmy, just go by Timmy, and everything will be fine.
Hey, Professor.
Yes?
Hey, Timmy. It's me, Timmy's dad, who loves him and is exactly the same.
Hey, Timmy, that's your father. You recognize your father.
He is exactly my father.
He's going to call you Timmy instead of Billy, but that's literally the only change between this timeline.
I can't take it!
No, Timmy, stop
This
it!
world is crazy!
Timmy!
Everything is topsy-turvy!
What have you done to him, Professor? That's my boy! I love Timmy so much!
Ah! Clock tower's a little taller in this timeline, too! Like, gravity's a little slower. Yeah, Timmy's not a bad name.
I just want there to be timelines, man. I want there to be time travel and timelines. That's what I want. That's all I ask. Is that so hard? Is it so hard for Sinbad to fucking acquiesce instead of going on Twitter and telling everybody he never acted in a movie where he played a genie? He could just say it and let us all have that wonderful, beautiful moment of magic where we believe in time travel and timelines and science fiction.
Nah, if we're all going to collectively buy into alternate timelines, I want it to be for a cooler reason. Sorry. That's all. I can't take this. This is the most boring timeline I've ever been in. All the other timelines I've been in think like alternate timelines are super sick and dope. There's all like flying.
The cooler timelines they're cooler?
Yeah, like flying dinosaurs.
You only go to hipster timelines,
I
Anthony.
only go to hipster timelines. I don't go to any timelines that have bad coffee. I don't go to any timelines where cassette tape won out over vinyl in the resurgence.
Oh, man.
I've been to some timelines, man.
You've been to some timelines.
I've been to some timelines and it's like, yeah, man, we're all collecting cassette tape because of that warm sound. And I'm like, no! And then I jump out of a window in a clock tower. Sliders was an underrated show, I think.
I'm not sure it would hold up now.
Who knows?
I mean, Sinbad was great in it.
Sinbad was amazing in it.
Yeah.
Sinbad was amazing. In the later seasons when he was replaced by Martin Lawrence, it was not as good.
No, not as good.
Guys, Berenstain or Berenstain? Shazam or Kazam? Or both?
Both. I think all the people in the Reddit say both.
Well.
Like Ants and Bugs Life. They say it's the same thing.
God, the rationalization of
these
these
do
people.
a lot of. Do you believe in magic, or are you like Anthony and you want people to just be fallible?
Let us know on Twitter. You can hashtag those. Kazam is fake. And I'm at A Carboni.
I'm at Jeff Canada.
And hey, guys, I think you should head to iTunes.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you should do. Head to iTunes. Head to our show's page on iTunes.
Yeah.
Give us a 5-star rating.
Yes, we need that 5-star rating. It helps with people discovering our show.
Then, instead of writing a review of our show, write write about the movie Shazam. Tell us all the plot of Shazam.
Yeah.
And let us
What do you remember?
I want to see how close we all get to the plot of Shazam without looking at each other's answers.